Hello, everyone, and welcome. Good Monday morning. I'm Connie Douglas from Great Stamping with Connie. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada, and I would like to welcome you to Monday Motivation. So let's kick off the week with some crafting, shall we? It's Monday morning, at least where I am. Um, I hope you had an awesome weekend. There, things are so busy, but I like to be busy. But it was another busy weekend, and all good stuff. I attended Backstage, which is a conference for leaders at Stampin' Up. If your title is Silver Elite or higher, you are invited to attend this, and it is always awesome. Lots and lots of information shared, lots of great messages, lots of great tips. Just a 2 days packed full of presentations and great ideas and all the rest of it. And there's still more videos, videos on demand that I haven't watched yet. It was a virtual event this year, so I didn't need to travel anywhere. I was right here in my craft studio. And as much as it's nice to be in your craft studio and not have to travel, it's nice to be in person too. But next year, we will be in person. We're going to Las Vegas next year. So, woohoo! Now is the time to join the Stampin' Up! Community. Come join the Great Stampin' Believers team. Get on the team, get yourself going, uh, work your way up to Silver Elite. It would be a lot of work. I'll be honest. It's a lot of work to get there, but it can be done. And then you can join me at Backstage in Las Vegas next year. Wouldn't that be amazing? Okay, so what do we have going on this week? Wednesday to Friday, there is a seasonal sale coming. You won't want to miss it. There's discounts from items from the annual catalog, bundles, paper, ink pads, designer series paper, so cardstock and designer series paper, ink pads, and bundles. So um, you want to watch for that. I will be sending out more details. I put just a quick note about that in my email from Sunday, yesterday, but I will send more information in the next day or two so that you're ready to go on Wednesday morning. If you didn't get that email, then you're not on my mailing list. Shame on you. You should join my mailing list. Get on my mailing list. That's where you hear about um, deals and classes and events and just, crafting inspiration, things going on in the craft studio. You would get first access to know when my next retreat is. I have one, it's less than 2 weeks away now, so it's getting really, really close, and I'm super excited because we have been working like crazy, getting everything ready, and there's still lots to do, but we will get there, and it's going to be an awesome weekend. So, okay, shall we do some crafting? Let's head down to the crafting space. So, this week, I am going to share cards using the Shepherd's Care stamp set. This is a beautiful stamp set to celebrate the season. Jesus is the reason for the season, and this set makes it super easy to celebrate that with some beautiful images, Bethlehem, the star, the shepherd, and then look at some wonderful sentiments. Prince of Peace, peace on earth, and even sentiments that you can use inside your cards. So just a wonderful, wonderful stamp set. So I'm going to play with that this week. I will share at least 3 cards, but I will share 3 cards that could be part of a kit that I would love to send you. Super easy to get that kit. All you have to do is go to my online store, place a minimum $45 order using this host code DNFJ3NVB, and I will send you the kit with all the paper pieces that you need to make the 3 cards. You will need the stamp set. I cannot stamp images and send those to you. That's a Stampin' Up! Policy. But I will send you all the paper pieces, and you are welcome to add this to your order. Or you could use something from your stash. It's entirely up to you. But I would love to send you that kit. If your order is over $75, I will also send you a pack of gems. And get ready for it. Wait. My card today does not have any gems on, at least not now. To me, it looked like it had lots going on, and I didn't want to just add some in. So I think I'm going to do a card today without gems. But if your order is $75 or more, I will send you some gems because most cards need gems, right? That's what we do. Okay, let's get crafting this card. So this is the card that I'm going to share with you today. And I'm going to do something that I don't know that I've ever done. Just a little bit of heat embossing. Heat embossing it's the magic. And I don't think I've ever shared that online like this. So I thought I would do it. It can be noisy, but I think the videos kind of tone it down a little bit so that it's not quite as loud. So that's my hope. But anyway, we'll do it. It's not a whole lot, so it won't take too long. Although I did forget to warm up my heat tool as I had planned to do, but anyway, we will get through it. Okay, so I have a cherry cobbler card base, and this is just a standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Okay, and I am just going to give that a nice burnish on the score line. Okay, and then we have a piece of designer series paper. This is actually specialty designer series paper from Season of Green and Gold. And there's gold in there. Look at that. Lots of shine. I think you can see the shine there, right? So this is one of the pieces from that pack of specialty paper. And you know what? I am just going to put it on right now while I'm here, and then that will be step one done. We're going to build everything else on some other pieces. So get this down onto here. Ah, pulled my finger out a little bit too soon. There we go. That's better. Okay, there we go. And then we have another piece of cherry cobbler, and this is no, 4.5 by 2.75, I do believe. Yes. 2.75, yes, 4.5 by 2.75. And then a piece of basic white that is just a layer smaller. So 4.25 by 2.5. Okay, and we are going to stamp on that. And then I have just a couple of strips of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to use one to stamp the sentiment on and one to stamp our star on. I could have done them both on this piece, but I'd grabbed this one and it was too narrow for the star. So I'm using them both. So there we go. Okay, let's set some of this to the side so we have room. And we will bring in our stamps. So there's our shepherd, and I am going to stamp him in Pebbled Path. Used Pebbled Path the last time. It's not quite as I'll say harsh perhaps as the basic black. Sometimes our crisp memento based black ink is like awesome and exactly what you're after. But for this, I thought that something just a little bit less, I'll say harsh, I guess. Something a little softer. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but that was sort of my thoughts. Don't try to see inside my brain. It will only confuse you. It confuses me. Oh, look what I did. What is that? I don't even see that on here. Is it? I'm sure it's ink. Oh, no, maybe it was fluff. It's very odd. I don't know what it was, but it went away when I lifted that up. So we're good. Okay. Very odd. Okay, so there is our shepherd. And while we're here, why don't we continue with our stamping? So I am using my supplies are a little bit far away today. I need to find a better spot for them. But there, just reach back and grab everything. So I am using the Peace on Earth sentiment, and I'm just going to pull in that one scrap of basic white. And I am using Cherry Cobbler ink for this one. Just going to stamp it right in the middle because I'm going to trim around it. So it doesn't really matter where it is. Doesn't matter if it's straight, doesn't matter if it's centered. It's one of those easy to stamp things. And I'm cutting it out because I don't want it to take up a whole lot of real estate on my card. So that's why I did that. So he's ready for his next step. And then the last stamp I'm going to do is the star. And this is going to be the heat embossed piece. So I'm bringing in my Versamark ink, and it's called Watermark. It's a Watermark stamp pad. What it does is it will just sort of turn, when we do tone on tone stamping, it creates a similar effect to that if you just stamp it. However, the other beautiful thing about Versamark is that it is slow to dry. So it's great for embossing because you can sprinkle your embossing powder on while the ink is still wet and it will stick. So this is my gold embossing powder, and you can store these in the containers. You can sprinkle it over a piece of paper and put it back in the pot. I find it easiest to put it in another container. And then I just, I have a lid, and I've marked on here that this is gold, so I always know what it is. I've got a spoon in here to sprinkle it on, and then it just keeps cycling around. When it gets low, I add more. So going to ink up this stamp, get it nice and inky. And I'm going to stamp it down. This star, by the way, is symmetrical. I turn my paper, I do weird things, I turn the stamp, but I'm pretty darn certain it's exactly symmetrical. So you don't really need to do all that. But anyway, then I'm going to grab my embossing powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over that. And then I'm going to let it come off. I like to flip it over and just give it a nice flick on the back. And if you have any little bits, you don't really need to worry about them for this because we are going to fussy cut this. But I usually have a little brush that's not right here. Just going to grab it. So I just grab a little brush and do it over. I don't need to worry about saving it so much as let's not get this everywhere. There, so I just brush the excess off, and there's just a tiny little bit there. If you were going to leave this as a full piece, you would want to be quite diligent about brushing off any extra embossing powder, because once you heat emboss it, it's permanent. It will be there forever. So okay, I'm going to bring in my heat tool. If you don't have our Stampin' Up! Heat tool, it's essential for heat embossing, which is magic and wonderful. But these are great. 2 speeds. So you've got a low and a high, which is great if you've got, if you're doing projects where you want them to dry and they need a little encouragement, you can just use the low setting. And the high is what we will use for this heat embossing. Now you'll notice I've put this onto a clipboard that is covered in foil. Clipboard, so I don't have to hold it and burn my fingers. Foil, so that it warms from the back. Good morning, Lee, welcome. If you have done heat embossing, you may have noticed that your paper tends to curl, and that's because you're heating it on one side. If you also help to heat the back, it will stay straighter, flatter, and foil will warm up very, very quickly. So that's why I put foil on the back. So I am going to start this now. Hopefully it's not too noisy. Like I said, I'm not sure how this works on video, but we're going to find out. And hopefully you can see this. I'm going to hold it up close and hopefully you can see it transform. Okay, everybody ready? Let's go. So I have that on. I don't know how much noise it's making, but anyway, we're going to bring it in and just watch for the, okay, so now I have this a little bit too far, but I don't know whether you'll be able to see it or not, but just watching for this to transform there. Can you see it changing? Hopefully you can see it changing. And you just get all of that powder to turn shiny. Okay. Turn that off. Once it has gone shiny, um, it's cooked, it's done. Okay. And you don't want to continue because that's when you could burn your paper. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can tell or if you can see, but my paper has stayed relatively flat. Okay. Which, if you're cutting out a small piece, doesn't matter a whole lot, but I had the clipboard, so I didn't burn my fingers. Okay. Now, the only disadvantage of all of this is that you now have to wait for me to fussy cut this because I wanted to show you heat embossing. And then that completely slipped my mind about still making one in advance. But this is actually relatively easy fussy cutting because it's all straight lines. We kind of like straight line cutting, don't we? At least I do. And I'm not even taking the time to get into the corners just yet. I will do that in a moment. And I found the ends on these are not complete points, so I do need to go and trim up the bottoms just a little bit once I get it cut out. There we go. Okay. So this stamp set is not in the annual catalog, so it will not be part of the sale that's coming up on Wednesday, but there's lots of great stamp sets that are. But this is a great stamp set that's available now and perfect for your seasonal crafting. Okay, so I'm all the way around. I just need to come in here carefully and get all these little divots to meet. There we go. Sometimes they just need a little bit of encouragement to fall out, don't they? A little bit cut. Okay. And then I'm just going to take some of these ends off where the heat embossing starts. Because as I said, they don't go to like perfect points. There's a little bit of a flat end to them. So there we go. Okay, let's get the mess out of the way, and that is ready to go. Oh, while I'm here with my paper snips, you don't have Stampin' Up! Paper snips, you should get some of these too. These are awesome, super sharp, very comfortable. And they just, they are a crafting essential. They are in all of my basic toolkits. They're everything that I recommend to new stampers and everyone as they're starting out is get yourself some really good paper snips because they make your life a whole lot easier. The Stampin' Up! Paper snips are wonderful. Mine are years and years and years old. I have never actually had them sharpened. Sometimes you go to an event and they have someone there to sharpen your scissors. I don't know, I haven't ever needed to, but I'm very, I cut paper with these. I don't cut a lot of weird things with them. And don't let the kids at them. They do get a little sticky sometimes. But they've stayed super, super sharp. Okay, we are back to our shepherd and our sheep. And what I did on this card, you will see, is that I just added a little bit of color. Tiny, tiny bit of color on the sheep, just so he's not quite as white. Hopefully you can see that. So I am using watercolor pencils. And these are great when you just want to add a little bit of color. So this is basic gray from one of the sets, and I'm just coloring this in a little bit, just to give it a little bit of shading. And then I'm going to come in with a Stampin' Blend, okay? No, blender pen, sorry. These come in a package of 3, and they are wonderful. You can use ink to color with these, or you can use these on your watercolor pencil coloring. And I don't know, I'm going to hold this up. I'm not sure you can see it, but do you see here how this is all filled in? And there's still, oh, it's not happy with the focusing. Maybe I do that. So at the front of his body, there's still some lines and some gaps. It's very light. I'll see if I can show you on the next piece perhaps, but when you use the blender pen, it just blends out the coloring lines and makes it all sort of smooth. Okay, when you are finished with this particular color, you just rub it out on a piece of paper, and that will take all the color out, and it's ready to go for the next one. Okay, so for this one I used yellow. This time I'm going to use Balmy Blue, and just do this in blue, just to be different. Just because I can. And I'm just coming in not too heavy. I don't want it to be too dark, but I do want to give it some color. I'm just coloring where there isn't stamping really. I guess I could go over this, couldn't I? Just to very faint, add a little bit of color there. And then I'm going to come back in with my blender pen, and let me just, I'll hold this up so you can have a peek at it now. Everybody put that in your memory. And then I'm just going to go over all of this, my blender pen, and it just smooths out the coloring lines. And it doesn't change anything, doesn't add any more color or anything like that. It just sort of smooths it all out. Let's see. Hopefully you can see that that has changed. Okay. So that's one thing that you can do with your blender pen. You don't have to do that with your watercolor pencils. You can just leave them colored the way they are. Entirely up to you. It's just a little different look. Okay, let's put this together. Here. And then we are ready to assemble our card. Now, on the last card, I thought about popping this up on dimensionals, but then I wanted this star kind of in here because I thought that was about the right placement for it. And these are so very fine. I thought that I should glue them down. So I ended up putting this on flat, and I think I'm going to do that again. It would look nice popped up, but then you'd have to put your star out, I think a little bit further onto the edge. Or I guess you could, you could leave it, just the points are very, very thin. And I just thought if there was a dimensional under the middle and not under the ends, that it might get all bent up. Might get all bent out of shape. Okay, let's bring in my silicone mat here, and I'm just going to use my liquid glue because, ooh, new liquid glue. Okay, I'll put a cap on that, and I'll just use my finger to spread that around. There we go. Move that out of the way so we don't set anything into it. I'm going to put this down just about there. And then all of my points are stuck down, so they're not going to get smushed in the sending or anything. But then we will pop up our sentiment. And look what I found in my bin. Itty bitty little sheet of little dimensionals. And of course, I need the mini dimensionals for this because it's fairly narrow, so. Oops. Right about there. And what did I do with my take your pick tool? Here we go. I like to say I'm getting better at this, but as soon as I think that I'm getting better, I struggle with one, and then see, they're just not cooperating and coming off easily. Must be the dimensionals, right? Couldn't possibly be the operator. Okay, good enough. And then I am going to bring this in and just put it right about here. I did sort of consider putting it down at the bottom. Maybe we will, just to be different. I do like it here, but maybe we'll try this one here, shall we? There, I've just set it there. Decisions. I think it could go either place. I think it works either in the middle or at the bottom. So let's just give that a press and put that down at the bottom. And there you have it. There is today's card. And I don't think it needs any additional gems. I think it's good the way it is. But if you think otherwise, leave me a comment and let me know if you think I should add some more gems to that. So as I mentioned, this is card number 1. And I will share 3 cards this week. And I would love to send you a kit to make those 3 cards. All you have to do is place a minimum $45 order in my online store using this current host code, and I will send you that kit. And if your order is over $75, I will also send you a pack of gems. So if you want gems on this card, you could add them, or you could just use them on other cards. You have until this coming Sunday, November 17th, to place your order and to get this kit. Okay, that's it for me for today. I will be back Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. and I hope to craft with you again soon. Have an awesome day, everyone. Take care. Bye for now.